Hi everybody. Today is June 4th and I today hurt my hand somehow, so I'm having trouble playing guitar. So I'm going to tell a quick story and then we're going to talk about some Les Paul customs. And this quick story is in 2015 in late May. We had a guitar that came in that was Jimmy Page's guitar, right? So let me start at the beginning. In 1961-62, Jimmy Page bought a 3-pickup Les Paul Custom with Bigsby, just like this, looks just like this. This is an aged one that one of our Gibson buddies sent us, but he used it for all his gigs coming through. It was his one of only 2 electric guitars, and he used it from 62, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and recorded the first 2 Led Zeppelin records. He didn't want to take it on tour because it was so precious to him. One of 2 electrics he used, okay? And he did take it, and on his 3rd tour of the United States, he was here in Minneapolis. And in April of 1970, he played a 13-song set with Led Zeppelin outside near the Mall of America. They did an encore of Whole Lotta Love. Yeah. And set it down. He didn't see it again until 1993 when we called and it had come in the store. And I said, hey, I've got this guitar. It's got the same serial number. And what Jimmy had done was add a second 3 switches. So each switch turned on and off each individual pickup. Unique to these guitars, as you guys know, this pickup is for this switch down is this bridge pickup. In the middle position, it is these 2. And it's got kind of a cool out of phase sound, and then up is just the neck pickup. So the 3 pickup thing was just to make this model the super deluxe model. This was the most expensive solid body guitar that you could find. So this guitar that Jimmy Page had modified came to us in 1993. We called, and a guy named Perry Margoloff, who was a friend of Jimmy Page's, had done some research, and he goes, yeah, it's just not ours. And I go, really? It's got the same serial number. And they're like, yep, nope, not ours. Okay, so I sold it to our employee, Bleem. This is kind of a good story. You can look up Jimmy Page's lost guitar and see this story. There's been a lot of separate stories on this, but it's kind of an interesting story. It happened right here at Willie's. That was back in 93. Bleem had the guitar for all those years. He brought it in May of 2015, and I actually took, late at night, at midnight, a black light and shone it on the guitar, and lo and behold, I saw those extra holes right here and here. They were also on the back, but they had been covered up by refinishing. Now, Bleem had had it 20 years more. He'd owned it longer than Jimmy Page had, and that sinking of the wood, that kind of started sinking in a little bit, so I ran the black light on it, saw those 2 holes, and was like, oh my God. I gotta tell you, the hair on my arm still stands up from that little thing that we had where I was certain this was Jimmy Page's guitar. I called a friend of mine, and he came in, and we ran the black light over it again, and we were here 20 minutes, and I couldn't catch it in the right light. It was not easy to see. So the owner of it, Bleem, had owned it and never had seen it. It's just that I had the lights out and had this black light and caught it. Oh my God. And then I knew. I knew it really was. Even though Jimmy says it's not mine, we were pretty sure it was Jimmy Page's guitar. So a buddy of mine came by. It took us 20 minutes to find it. When we finally did find it, it's like, oh my God, now what? And I called Bleem, and I told him what he had, and I said, just shut up about it for right now. And Bleem had a lot of health issues and a lot of reasons. I didn't want him to lose the guitar. We had already offered it to Jimmy Page, and they said no. So now it's back in our lap. We had done what was right, and we were certain of that. So this was now 2015, and on June 3rd, the Rolling Stones came into town, and we were hanging out with the guys, and the next day, they were rehearsing in town, so the next day, the Rolling Stones invited me to a party. And I called my wife. And my wife, this is a true story, my wife was sick. My wife Shelley had 102 fever. And she was like, what? I go, get dressed. She's like, no, I don't feel good. I'm sorry. I go, no, you know me. There's a party, and I can't tell you with who. But you know me well enough to know that I'm telling you, my beautiful wife Shelley, to get ready. We're going to a party, okay? Just follow along. She goes, gotcha. I'll be ready in 10 minutes. And that's my girl. So I went, I picked her up, we headed downtown, and we were there June 4th for Ronnie Wood's 70th birthday here in town. And we drive up to the hotel, and there's two guys on each corner built like mattresses with little curlicues in their ear, and we knew we were in the right place. Before we hit the door, they said, by the way, if you have a cell phone, destroy it. Don't show us any pictures, don't pull it out, turn it off. Trust us. If you do, even show baby pictures, we're going to destroy the phone or throw you out. Okay. So we go into the lobby. We show the guitar off. I had this 54 Strat, and it was going to be a gift for them. And so it was Ronnie's 70th birthday party, a 54 hardtail Strat, a magnificent, lightweight, beautiful guitar that was all straight. It was a blast to be showing it to the Rolling Stones. So we go down to the party, we sit around, I talk to the fellas, and Ronnie was there, and Ronnie is like, it should be everybody's guitar hero. Keith Richards and I have met Keith before. We sat and talked for hours. So it was Keith, me, my wife Shelley, and Ronnie across the table, and we just had the greatest time. They were so nice to us. They offered to feed us. They remembered my wife Shelley's name. Eventually, she started calling him Uncle Keith. It was just a magical night. Now, the next day, they were rehearsing. So we went down to the outdoor stadium, and I told them, I found Jimmy Page's guitar. And they're like, come on, everybody says that. And I go, no, you know me. I promise, I found Jimmy Page's guitar. And the Rolling Stones hooked me up with a friend of Jimmy Page's, Perry Margoloff, who then made it all right with Bleem. He actually bought a guitar for Bleem, and they replaced it. And there was one, they bought Bleem another guitar, and so that is the exact same year as the Jimmy Page guitar, which had holes in it and was busted up, and middle pickup didn't work, and all of that stuff was going on. But the point is, we gave back Jimmy Page's guitar, and that's a story that sits in St. Paul, and it's kind of cool. For all of us guitar nerds, it is a story about redemption. It's a story about getting back something you lost. It's a story about helping out Jimmy Page, one of the biggest rock stars of all time. And that's a story I want to share with you. But this video is in two parts, because every time I see a 3-pickup Les Paul Custom, I keep thinking about that guitar with a Bigsby and the 3 holes in it and what it meant to get it back. And by the way, Jimmy Page was so nice and called up and he thanked us profusely, and he was really excited about getting it back. He even played it over the phone for a little bit. He turned it up and kind of went, and he was like, I had it in my lap the whole time. It was a cool moment for me. So there we go. Now I'm going to ask the camera to back up to that other chair, and then we're going to do part 2.